Welcome back to LVMTG. Today we'll be diving into Crick, son of Yawgmoth. Stay tuned for this deck tech. First, let's take a look at our namesake commander. Crick, son of Yawgmoth is for Phyrexia Black, Phyrexia Black, Phyrexia Black. So you can get this guy out for only 4 mana and 6 life. So the great thing with him, he's a horror minion with lifelink. And for each black in a cost, you may pay 2 life rather than pay that mana. And whenever you cast a black spell, put a +1/+1 counter on Crick, son of Yawgmoth. So this card is explaining what it exactly wants to do. It wants you to gain life so you can spend that to cheat out spells. And he will let you regain some life with his built-in lifelink and his ability to pump himself. Now the deck is in a few separate sections. Let's take a look. So first and foremost, we have to gain life in order to pay that life. Makes sense, right? So we've got some options in here to help us gain a lot of life or small increments of life just so we can keep paying. So first we have Dread Presence. So with Dread Presence, you can either draw the card and lose 1 life when a swamp enters, or you can hit something for 2 and gain 2. Depending on the exact situation, you can keep that life total increasing to keep paying for more and more spells. We've also got a few artifacts in here like Step of the Death Magus. So whenever you cast a black spell or a swamp enters the battlefield under your control, you gain a life. Now, powerhouse of the deck is Pontiff of Blight. He has Extort, of course, but he gives everything else Extort, so you can drain and gain to keep going. Then we have some more artifacts such as Diamond Mare. You just choose a color. Of course, you're going to choose black. And whenever you cast a black spell, you gain a life. So Grey Merchant of Asphodel's up next. He's a powerhouse in this deck. So when it enters the battlefield, each opponent loses X life, where X is your devotion to black. Then you gain that much life. You can gain a ton of life super quickly and even close out the game with this card. And we've got some of our traditional cards that are in Aristocrats deck just for some added life gain, like Zolaport Cutthroat and then Blood Artist. Then we do have another artifact. I love this one. It's only a 1-drop, and at the beginning of your upkeep, you gain 1 life. You can sack and draw a card, but just 1 life, that just helps. Every little bit helps. That's the name of this deck. Now, something that's going to gain us life and close out the game because we can cast a lot of spells for almost free is Tendrils of Agony. So for 2 and 2 black, target player loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. Doesn't sound too good, but it has Storm. You can get very large Storm counts in this deck and hit somebody for a lot of damage and gain a ton and just keep playing spells. Now this deck wouldn't be complete without some life gain payoffs. One of them here is Vilis, Broker of Blood. This is a huge legendary demon. It's an 8/8 with flying, but you can pay a black and pay 2 life. Target creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn. However, when you lose life, you draw that many cards. And we're going to be losing a ton of life in this deck, drawing a ton of cards from that when Vilis is on the field. So we got to be careful not to deck ourselves by drawing out our whole deck. Another life gain payoff is Sanguine Bond. Simple. Whenever you gain life, target opponent loses that much life. Pretty straightforward. We gain a lot of life, so we'll be able to consistently knock some folks down. My favorite life gain payoff, though, is Witch of the Moors. For 3 black, this is a Death Touch human warlock that's a 4/4. But at the beginning of your end step, if you gain life this turn, each opponent sacrifices a creature, and you return up to 1 target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. This card is like Shieldred, however, it performs so much better in this deck. The next section of this deck is card advantage. We have quite a few just simple draw spells, but I have 2 heavy hitters in this deck. The first one is Bolus's Citadel. I'm sure you've all heard of this card, but for 3 black, it's a legendary artifact. You may look at the top card of your library at any time. You may play the top card of your library. If you cast a spell this way, pay life equal to its converted mana cost rather than pay its mana cost. So this right here can just have us keep digging. The only thing that slows us down is hitting land drops. So if you hit 2 lands in a row, Bolus's Citadel kind of dies. But if you've got this in play with the other card, you can get rid of those lands and just keep playing. And the other card is the tried and true Necropotence for black. So great thing with the heavy pips do, these really benefit Grey Merchant of Asphodel. So this one here is an enchantment. Skip your draw step. Whenever you discard a card, exile that card from your graveyard. It sounds terrible. However, pay 1 life. Exile the top card of your library face down. Put that card into your hand at the beginning of your next end step. This is a machine. There's a reason it took over the world in 1995, and a reason it's banned in a lot of formats, but in Commander, it's all good. And our next area is going to be Ramp. So this deck can generate big mana. Of course, I've got the normal mana rocks like Arcane Signet and Soul Ring, but these are some specialized black cards that I love. First up's Cryptghast. For 3 and a black, it's got Extort, so it's going to help our life game strategy. However, whenever you tap a swamp for mana, add black to your mana pool. This is going to double up our swamps and let us cast some bigger things quickly if our commander gets removed, because that's very likely to happen. Crick is a threat, and folks will see that immediately. Now, similar to Cryptghast, we have Nirkana Revenant. So it's 4 black, so pretty expensive. However, whenever you tap a swamp for mana, add an additional black. So same thing as Cryptghast, it's going to double up our swamp's mana production. And you can also pump Nirkana Revenant like crazy if you have nothing else to do. Now we've got a few other just lands that are going to help us. First one is Cabal Stronghold. It's like Cabal Coffers. However, it can tap for mana on its own, and it costs 1 more to activate. So 3, tap it, add a black for each basic swamp you control. So Cabal Stronghold is pretty powerful, but not as good as Cabal Coffers. This card was originally an uncommon, and then Modern Horizons 2, they made it a mythic. So all it is 2, tap it, add a black for each swamp you control. This is a beast. You're going to be able to generate huge mana off of this and the next card, which is Urborg, Tomb of Yawgmoth. This legendary land makes each land a swamp in addition to its other types. So you'll be able to tap for a ton of mana with your Cabal Coffers with Urborg, Tomb of Yawgmoth. Now, we do have quite a few win conditions in this deck. We even have a combo kill hidden in here. However, we do have a lot of value pieces that we'd love to get, so we might as well tutor for them. So we got a few tutors in this deck. First one is Imperial Seal. I know this is a new release, a pretty expensive card. Luckily, I pulled it from a booster. For 1 black, it's a sorcery. Search your library for a card, then shuffle. Put that card on top. You lose 2 life. Simple and cheap. And then we've got a few other creatures that help us tutor. I just love that extra ETB value. One is Runescarred Demon for 5 black. Flying, when Runescarred Demon enters the battlefield, search your library for a card, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. I love tutoring from a body. So because of that, I also have Sidisi, Undead Vizier. For 3 black, it's a Death Touch with Exploit. Legendary creature, Zombie Naga, 4/6. And when it exploits a creature, you may search your library for a card, put it into your hand. I'd much rather run this than a Diabolic Tutor, that's for sure. So it's going to help us get to some of our win cons or a value piece like Necropunks. Now, speaking of combo kills, I'm not usually the biggest fan of combos, but I do run a 2-card combo on this deck, which consists of Triskelion and Mycaius the Unhallowed. So we'll start with Triskelion. Triskelion enters the battlefield with 3 +1/+1 counters on it. Remove a +1/+1 counter from it, and it deals 1 damage to target creature or player. Pretty neat. And then we've got Mycaius the Unhallowed for 3 black. It's a legendary zombie cleric with Intimidate. Whenever a human deals damage to you, destroy it. Probably not that relevant, but if you're playing against Kalia, say goodbye to Kalia if she tries to attack you. Other non-human creatures you control get +1/+1 and have Undying. So the Undying will bring back our non-humans with a +1/+1 counter. So that's a good value piece for a lot of the non-humans in our deck. So what you want to do with Triskelion is you remove those +1/+1 counters. So you remove 1, ping an opponent, remove another, ping Triskelion, remove another, ping Triskelion. It will die just because it does have the +1/+1 pump from Mycaius. Then it will come back with the Undying, and then you just have another counter to remove. So this is an infinite combo that can knock somebody out of the game pretty quickly if you can get both pieces down super fast. Luckily, we run some tutors to make that happen. If you enjoyed this deck tech, be sure to check out some of my others. Like and subscribe if you love the content, and I'll keep the videos coming. In the meantime, everybody take care, and bye-bye.